Okay. Oh boy. It happened. If I don't look like my normal self, I quite literally ran to my studio to be one of the first people to broadcast this on YouTube Live. It actually happened. I am shocked. I am shocked this actually happened. I haven't had my coffee. I haven't had my Red Bull. I literally, I woke up an hour ago, but we are here. We have that winter storm coming. I've been preparing for that. It happened. So for those of you joining the live stream, I do need you guys to get it out there. Like this video, share the video. I think this was the moment a lot of people have been waiting for. Because, the trust in Pam Bondi, the FBI, the DOJ, nobody knew what was going to happen. Kristi Noem, 2 days ago, was like, within hours, we're going to have an arrest. Within hours. Nothing happened. I was talking to some friends who are way more smarter than me in this space. I was like, what do you think is going on? Nobody really knew. You guys, I know, I haven't had my coffee. I haven't had my Red Bull. I ran here. Minutes ago at my direction, HSI and FBI agents executed an arrest in Minnesota. So far, we have arrested Nakima Levy Armstrong, who allegedly played a key role in organizing the coordinated attack on City's Church in St. Paul, Minnesota. We will share more updates as they become available. Listen loud and clear. We do not tolerate attacks on places of worship. Wow. On a scale of 1 to 10, how shocked are you guys? Oh, as I'm making this video, we have a second arrest, people. Guys, like this video and share it so people can see what's going on. I think I might be one of the first people live on YouTube broadcasting this. We have a second arrest. That's the benefit of being live. Hold on. Update. We have an update. A second arrest has been made at my direction. Chantel, I'm sorry, I don't know how to say that. Again, haven't had my coffee or Red Bull. Chantel Louise Allen has been taken into custody. More to come. We will protect our houses of worship. Whoa. Just like that. Within minutes. I know I see some people saying, I want to hear Lemon. I don't know what's going on with that. Let's just look and see, are these people we saw on camera? Do you guys recognize these names at all? Oh, whoa. Hold on. Why do I recognize her? Do you guys recognize her? Is this the person who went on TV? Is this her? Oh, man. That's her, right? The one who went on TV and said, yeah, we did it, and I'm ordained, right? That's her. Oh, my gosh. Yo, they are not messing around. Okay, let's see. Again, I have no idea what's going on, guys. I just woke up to this. Okay, so we know her. Who's the other one? Who's the other one? Wait a minute. I recognize her too. You guys have seen her, right? I swear I've seen her. Isn't this, hold on. I've seen both of them. Yeah, okay. Eric Daughtry's reporting. Of course, as I'm going live, all chaos is ensuing outside. Sorry, this was a unplanned live. I wasn't fully ready, so just give me a second to set up here. It's official. Black Lives Matter. Nakima arrested by Donald Trump DOJ. But who's the other person? So, okay, that's the first person arrested. Yeah. Is that the teacher or associated with the teacher? Yeah. That's her. Oh my god. Damn. Okay, so they did something. They went straight to the top. What do you guys think about that? They went right to the top. They didn't start with like the people I thought they would start with. I'm not going to drop any names, but you guys know who I'm talking about. There's some people on camera there that a lot of us have seen literally before in other cities doing the same thing. Yeah, that's a good question. What are the charges? Again, let me set this up. A school board member for St. Paul Public Schools. I've lived in Ward 4. But did she actually win her election? Anyway, that's who also got arrested, all right? Her as well. A school board member for St. Paul Public School. All right. Again, these are like coming in. This is AG Harmeet Dillon. Thank you for the $2 donation. I appreciate that. That's going to go to my Red Bull this morning. I don't even think I had water this morning. You guys might see me pass out on a live stream. Yeah, I'm not going to drop any names, but there were some other people I expected. So this is Harmeet Dillon. Our dial civil rights is set to F around and find out. Stay tuned for more after. Thank you, Pam Bondi. Okay, look, I'm not a conspiracy type guy. Is that why JD Vance is coming in today? JD Vance is flying into Minnesota today. Could that be the reason why? Someone said, dude, get some water. Yeah, I'm not kidding. I ran to go do this. I was running. Oh, boy. By the way, I do have a scheduled show. This was not supposed to be the show. I mean, if I'm Don Lemon right now, do you think Don Lemon is a little worried? I'm shocked. They went, yeah, we're going to stop for the top down. We're going to go to the top down here. Again, JD Vance is coming into town, guys.
It's a rival, Garrett.
Hey, good morning, y'all. The White House says the vice president will be hosting a roundtable with local leaders. In the focus of that round,
that's going to be very awkward today. That is going to be very awkward. Okay, so let's talk about leadership and what's going on in your cities.
table will be on restoring law and order in Minnesota. That's what the administration says it's been trying to do with more than 3,000 federal agents here who are facing stiff opposition and harassment from the community almost everywhere they go. The vice president's visit also comes as the Department of Justice is investigating that anti-ICE protest at a church in the Twin Cities Sunday. The administration has promised to hold those involved accountable. Here's Attorney General Pam Bondi.
Okay, so thank you for the $5 donation, John. Just for those of you joining, we found out about the second person live. We might hear about more. I mean, there were a lot of protesters there. So we might be finding out stuff as we go through this. At some point, I will need a drop of water. I haven't had anything. Great news. Stay tuned. More to come. That's from Harmeet. I would have to assume they're like sitting next to one another and posting all of this. Like, honestly. What do you guys think? Do you guys think this is good for Pam Bondi? Are you regaining the trust, or do you still think, you know, you're not gonna get too excited? What do you guys think? I posed the question like 2 days ago. I think there were like 6,000 of you in here. I think every single person was like, I want Pam Bondi to do more. I cannot recall one person saying I am happy. And I'm just being honest. I'm just trying to be as fair as possible. See, now we got a little bit of yeses and nos. Last time it was all no. Yeah, that was 18 minutes ago. Man. Now, they've been arrested, so I don't think we're going to be seeing an update on their channels. Does she have an X account? Again, bear with me. Thank you for the $2, Phantom. I appreciate it. Thank you guys again. Make sure you guys are please liking. Please liking the stream. Helps out a ton. This is JD Vance in Toledo. Press conference. Maybe we'll keep that on standby. No disrespect to Homeland, but we're trying to figure out what's going on here. Let's see if Mr. Don Lemon had anything to say. If he's even on. Can't even spell lemon, guys. That's how you know I haven't had a coffee. You know it's bad when you can't spell lemon. This was her last night. Why not, right?
And I do want to correct something that was said in the beginning. We did not rush into that church. We actually went and sat down and participated in the service. And after the pastor prayed, that is when I stood up and asked him a question in response to his prayer. And then he responded to me. And then I proceeded to ask him about Pastor David Easterwood.
This has been the consistent messaging or defense on TV as far as we were welcomed, we sat, we dialogued.
And how is it possible for him to serve as both the pastor and the director of ICE for Minnesota? And instead of responding to me, as soon as I said the name David Easterwood, the pastor says, shame, shame. And that is when I led us in chants, justice for Renee Good and hands up, don't shoot. So I want to clarify that. We didn't rush in. We didn't bust in. We were a part of the service until I got up and posed that question to the pastor.
Okay, so that is her side of the story. Just letting you guys know that's her side of the story. Because obviously she has been arrested. I don't think we're going to be getting a post here. And then, yeah, we already saw this. You guys saw a lot of the clips. I mean, they were asking them to leave. The people in the church were all asking, can you please leave? Now, look, I know there are people out there who are like, there are some others who we think are going to possibly be arrested. If those two got arrested, I'm just going to be honest with you, that is very bad news for everyone else who holds no status within the realm of, you know what I mean, a higher status of the volunteer world, a leader of a community or a leader of an organization. Those are leaders. Again, for those of you joining, she has been arrested. You guys probably seen her a couple of times on television recently. And she has been arrested as well. Now, the charges, yeah. Let's look into what the actual charges are. Here we go. Let's try this. I am hoping maybe the DOJ posted a report. Let's see. And again, for those of you joining, if you're like, why does this guy look sickly? I just woke up, haven't had a drop of water. That's how dedicated I am to you guys. We don't even drink water. All right, what are the charges? What are the charges? DOJ, do you have anything? No. No DOJ. Trying to see in connection with disruption of services at church. I mean, I don't know what charges would that be, right? I'm waiting to see if we're going to get a third arrest. Attorney General Pam Bondi on Thursday arrested Nakima Levy Armstrong, has been arrested in connection with the disruption of services at a church. I don't see the actual technical terms here. I mean, trespassing, right? And God bless all of you guys. Thank you for being here. Lions today, thank you for being here. Don Lemon is live. Be epic if he was arrested on live stream. Is he live? Hold on. Let's go to his YouTube. I can't watch the live stream. Obviously, I don't have permission to do that. But let's go to Don Lemon's live. Oh my gosh. Is he live? Oh my gosh, Don Lemon is live, guys. Again, we don't know if he did anything wrong. I don't want to be accusatory. But what I will say is the fact that those two got arrested is probably not the greatest news for anyone else who was in that church. Because what Pam Bondi said was in connection to. That was her wording. Thank you for the $50 donation, Carl. Carl left the $50 donation and said nothing. You didn't even leave a comment, but I respect that. That's a flex. Thank you so much for that. I appreciate it. God bless you. Yeah, again, don't want to be accusatory. We don't know if anything will happen to Don, but thank you, Lions today. Appreciate you. Thank you for letting us know. Don is live. I cannot click on that live icon. I do not have permission to react to his show. But, yeah, Don is live. I wish I knew what he was saying, but I don't know. I am genuinely curious what he has to say because he says he was not connected, and everybody else has been saying they're not connected either. And so, obviously, the DOJ is, like, seeing something else we're not seeing, right? Thank you for the Cook 5865 sent 5 T-SPLY gift memberships. Thank you for helping out the community. And thank you guys so much for all being here. Somebody said yapping about the hearings. Yeah, if we can get some people over there and maybe ask what's going, let us know for the benefit of the group here. And I wish there was a way one of you guys can give me water or a Red Bull. Either would be nice. Mr. Rifley. Thank you, Mr. Rifley, for the $5 donation. Thank you. Again, guys, we might see a third person arrested here. We saw 2 arrested live. And if you guys are new here, make sure to please subscribe, turn on your notifications. I told you guys I would immediately go live the second we heard about this. Yeah, that person's on the school board. And we're not seeing the exact wording. We're just seeing in connection to. Hold on. The person arrested was on the St. Paul school board, huh? What do you think about that? His chat is going nuts. I believe it. Again, not accusing him of any wrongdoing, but all I'm saying is, I am shocked that's who they picked to arrest first. I am going to be honest with you. This is from Eric Daughtry. Holy crap. Trump DOJ just made its second arrest in Minnesota. Church storming. St. Paul school board member Chantel Louisa Allen is now in federal custody. Let's see if she has an interview. I mean, all of the interviews are quite overlapping in statements. Like, I did nothing wrong. They let me in there.
Remember that church incident on Sunday in Minneapolis?
Yes.
The AG Pam Bondi posted this.
Hold on. Again, I have to be critical of this. Conservative media, we have to do better. It literally says in St. Paul, Minnesota, and in the background he says Minneapolis. The only reason why we need to get better at this is because St. Paul is a city with a mayor who has been subpoenaed by the FBI. And every time we only talk about Minneapolis, we keep looking in the other direction when there is another leader who I don't want to say is okay with what happened here, but her justification for the church protest is that ICE is going into places, peaceful places as well. So we need to start focusing on St. Paul. St. Paul is a territory. It's a city. There is a mayor there.
Remember that church incident on Sunday in Minneapolis? The AG Pam Bondi posted this, all right? I'm reading now. Minutes ago, at my direction, HSI and FBI agents executed an arrest in Minnesota. So far, we've arrested okay, we'll come back to that. So far, we have arrested Nikema Levy-Armstrong, who allegedly played a key role in organizing the coordinated attack on City's Church in St. Paul, Minnesota. We will share more updates as they become available. Listen loud and clear. We do not tolerate attacks on places of worship, end quote. I want you to react to that, Paul. But on Monday, Tricia McLaughlin was on with Dana and me. And part of her answer said, I think we will be seeing mugshots very soon.
And Kristi Noem said within hours there will be an arrest. Again, you can sort of piece together what was going on here. The fact that Pam Bondi even took the time to fly to Minnesota. Look, I'm sure Minnesota is an amazing state, but I think Pam Bondi, to go out of her way to go to Minneapolis or St. Paul. Harmeet Dillon kept talking about this. J.D. Vance is like, hey, on Thursday I'll be in Minnesota. Tricia McLaughlin saying, I think someone's going to get arrested. Kash Patel even said, yeah, we think something's going to happen. Again, I mean, they put so much pressure on themselves. If nothing happened, that would be insane. So, in my personal opinion, looking at this from a political aspect, the amount of pressure the Trump administration put on themselves for no reason, obviously there is a reason, I guess it paid off, right?
She was tipping her hand that arrests were on the way, and this is the first one that's been made.
Yeah, and look, there's going to be very, very little that they can do in defense of this because it's on film, and for once they didn't cover their faces. Now here is the thing that's going to come out of this. You have her under arrest, now you're going to get the communications. And this is where it starts to spider web out. You start to see who was talking to who showed up in regard, including Don Lemon.
Again, Don Lemon apparently is live, according to all you guys. I am not able to click on his live stream. I am not accusing him of anything, but I am very curious what he is saying right now on that live stream.
How much did they all know going in? That imports things like conspiracy charges, which can be quite heavy. There's criminal civil rights charges that are implicated in the church incident.
This is also because one of the things that we found out about that was that they were targeting them.
Remember that?
And by the way, Harmeet Dillon actually reposted Don Lemon. So me talking about Don Lemon, I'm actually even citing a government source, Harmeet Dillon reposting Don Lemon in one of her statements. And if I did the president? No, I am not going to watch a stream. Trust me. Just to give a little behind the scenes on YouTube. I mean, I'll just leave it at that. I am not going to watch a stream for legality issues. He's reading his chat, only showing Jack Smith hearing comments. Yeah, so I actually did have a show today. Do you guys want me just to go through with the show, or are we just waiting for updates? The show was actually supposed to be on what happened in what's been happening in Minneapolis, like Chief Bovino getting surrounded by protesters. He had to use tear gas, but also at the same time, this is a pretty big deal. I'm just waiting for somebody else to get arrested here. Show, bro, do the show. Yeah, we can do both. Thank you guys for being here. I really appreciate it. If you are new here, make sure to please subscribe, turn on your notifications. And yeah, I really value all of you guys. I'm really appreciative. And for those of you who might be going through that snowstorm, God bless you guys. Prayers to you. So I guess I will sort of continue with this show. And then I will be circling back to see if we have more comments and updates. So the very first thing I wanted to talk about was apparently more soldiers are on standby. This time from Fort Bragg. So that's going to be a company of police, military police. So that's on top of the other soldiers up in Alaska, 11th Airborne. So now we have a bunch of troops possibly on getting ready to deploy or on standby orders, but that has been reported by multiple sources. I am doing better than Don on View. Wow. Hey, I appreciate all of you guys. I have no idea how many viewers we have because it fluctuates, but thank you guys for being here. It says 7.8 thousand on my end, so yeah, shout out to the 7.8 thousand. Just so you guys are aware, I still have not had any water today, or a Red Bull. I've had nothing. So if I sound like I'm stuttering, could be due to the lack of hydration. Could possibly be it. Yeah, I want to get to this interview right here.
You don't believe that the federal government is right, that the state of Minnesota, of course, through the governor's office, refuses to give them access to the jails and prisons to collect people that they say are criminal and not supposed to be in the country.
I won't speak for the state. I will let them speak for themselves, but certainly that is what they have relayed. In Minneapolis, we will not cooperate with ICE or any federal agency around immigration enforcement work. We will.
Okay, so that was an interview yesterday, just the mayor reaffirming that he's not changing his stance. The city of Minneapolis is not changing his stance. Let's get to this. Shout out to Cam Higbee. He's doing a lot of good work out there. If you guys want to go follow, subscribe to Cam Higbee. Real quick, somebody just donated, I think. Thank you for the membership. Danthman5298. I appreciate it. And did I miss somebody else? Laundry? Sorry if I'm saying your name wrong. 14. I don't know why I have an accent when I do that either. Thank you for your memberships. I see you guys. It's a weird accent on my end. Yeah, Cam Higbee was on the ground last night. Chief Bovino apparently denied access into this gas station. And then I'm going to get to a clip of Chief Bovino engaging with some of the protesters here in a second.
Don't go back near the back.
Do you work here? Do you work here?
Yeah, I do.
You guys kicked him out?
Yeah, I do.
What's your opinion on it? Why'd you kick him out?
Because I wanted to.
Okay.
We don't support ICE, and nobody here does. Neither do I.
And so he's not allowed service here.
Nope. We don't support ICE.
Commander Bovino, is it legal to deny service to federal agents?
Okay, so he's not responding to that, obviously. Again, that is Cam Higbee. Obviously, you can see on the screen, Cam Higbee. Let's see. Apparently, J.D. Vance just landed. I am so curious how that is going to go. I mean, yeah, now a lot of people are, like, shouting out Mr. Don Lemon.
Here to Minneapolis, where we're going to talk with some of our ICE agents, talk with local officials about how we can turn down the chaos. And my simple piece of advice to them is going to be, look, if you want to turn down the chaos in Minneapolis, stop fighting immigration enforcement and accept that we have to have a border in this country. It's not that hard.
So this is in Toledo, by the way. And for those of you asking, only 2 have been arrested. The quote-unquote only 2 people, they might be the ones who were in charge of it. So in my opinion, those 2 people, it really signifies that you are not safe if you are at like the bottom of the totem pole in the aspect of, I just joined this organization, if that makes sense.
If you look all across our country, what's happened in Minneapolis is happening almost nowhere else in the United States of America. And that's
oh my gosh, guys, I have a picture. We have a photo. We have a photo. Thank you guys for being live. This is the benefit of being live. We're doing this together. Christy Noam just posted a photo, guys. Oh my gosh. Get ready for this. I cannot believe. This is like so insane. I've reported on a lot of crazy stuff, but this one might be top 1. Ready? That's the photo she just posted. Wow. That is insane. And look, if you are not supportive of ICE and you hate what's going on, just so you guys know, in my shows, we are, in my opinion, I mean, we show way more left-leaning material than right. I try to be as fair as possible here, but in terms of political context, this would definitely be seen as a huge win, probably for a lot of conservatives and Republicans right now. I mean, there's just no denying it. Homeland Security investigators and FBI agents arrested Nakima Armstrong, who played a key role in orchestrating the church riots in St. Paul, Minnesota. She's being charged with a federal crime under 18 U.S.C. 241. We'll look that up in a second. Religious freedom is the bedrock of the United States. There is no First Amendment right to obstruct someone from practicing their religion. Conspiracy. I have no idea what Lemon is saying, Mr. Don Lemon, but I am being told he is live right now. So if every once in a while somebody wants to see what's going on, I am very curious. Again, we don't know if he's going to be arrested. We have no idea. But if you were there, we just heard on Fox News 5 minutes ago. If they find out there was communications with others, Don Lemon's name was dropped by Fox News, that could be a problem. (18 U.S. Code 241, conspiracy against rights. If two or more persons conspire to injure, oppress, threaten, or intimidate any person in any state, territory, commonwealth, possession, or district in the free exercise or enjoyment of any right or privilege secured to him by the Constitution of or laws of the United States, or because of his having so exercised the same, or if two or more persons go in disguise on the highway or on the premise of another with intent to prevent or hinder his free exercise or enjoyment of any right or privilege so secured, they shall be fined under this title or imprisoned not more than 10 years, or both. And if death results from the acts committed in violation of this section, or if such acts include kidnapping or an attempt to kidnap, aggravated abuse, or an attempt to commit aggravated abuse, or an attempt to kill, they shall be fined under this title or imprisoned for any term of years or for life, or both, or may be sentenced to losing your life. Wow. Pretty crazy. Again, we are all finding this out as we go. FBI has entered the chat. And thank you guys for the 8.5 thousand live viewers. Nice to meet all of you. Thank you guys for being here. Sounds like you're reading the King James Bible. That's how they wrote it. It seems like they did. It sounds like Erasmus, who translated the King James Bible, for those of you that are unaware, sounds like he wrote that. That was the 1611 version, the original version there. From Tiny. Thank you, Tiny, for the $10 donation. Thank you so much for your trusted reporting. God bless you and pray for peace, but get the bad guys. And yes, we can pray for peace with the hope that through peace, we might have to get some of those bad guys. So thank you guys so much for being here. Get some water, dude. I have to at some point, for real. This morning, FBI and partners, HSI executed an arrest on Nakima, one of the individuals who allegedly organized the coordinated attack, what they're saying, on City's Church in St. Paul, Minnesota, this last weekend on violation of the FACE Act. More updates to come. That's why I keep checking my phone. More updates to come. For those of you who are just joining, we found out about the second person arrested within minutes of finding out the first person was arrested. Let's see if we can get some more updates here. Yeah, again, it's just, we already saw this. Let's see if she did any other interviews. And again, I know there's some other people out there in that protest who have already been identified. But they have not been arrested yet. Who was the second person? Right here. These are the two. New Pam Bondi arrest of two of the agitators who DOJ says stormed a church in St. Paul. Nakima Levy, who AG Bondi says was a key organizer, and Chantel, I apologize, I don't know if I'm saying her name right, a member of the St. Paul School Board since 2020. Let's see if we have an interview from her. I mean, this whole algorithm feed is going to be flooded with pictures, so. What do you guys think? Do you guys think this Pam Bondi has regained the trust of the people? I don't have permission to watch TMZ. I don't know if you can react to their stuff. I apologize. We have this, though. We have this video.
This is the beginning of what's going to happen here. When you violate people's due process, when you pull people off the street and you start dragging them and hurting them and not abiding by the Constitution, when you start doing all of that, people get upset and angry. And if you remember what the civil rights movement was about.
And by the way, the church was straight up like, we didn't invite them in here. You're allowed to come and worship the Lord. You can be here if you want. But if you're going to start this, you guys all saw the videos. They were like, you need to leave. Please get out. Please leave. On the flip side, some people were going on television, some of the protesters, and were saying, we were welcomed here.
The civil rights movement was about these very kinds of protests. And for some reason, in our modern era, people think that in order to have protests, you got to be, cordoned off to a certain area and, what time you can protest. There's nothing in the Constitution that tells you what time you can protest. You can protest at any time. That's the whole point of it, is to disrupt. To make uncomfortable, and that's what they're doing, and that's what I believe when I say everyone has to be willing to sacrifice something. You have to make people uncomfortable. All
right, you're hearing that. You have to make people uncomfortable. Now, I think some of us might have different definitions of what that could possibly mean. But again, as I make this video, I want to be clear. We don't know. I know a lot of people are talking about Mr. Don. We don't know what's going to happen with that. You guys can fact check me on this. Did the President of the United States talk about Don Lemon? Did he actually name drop him? Yeah, he did. Did he accidentally show his hand a little bit? Did he accidentally let people know that he was being investigated?
Mental institutions from where they came. That's all they want to do. They're patriots, and they have to be abused by guys like Don Lemon, who's a, loser, lightweight. I saw him the way he walked in that church. It was terrible. I have such respect for that pastor. He was so calm. He was so nice. He was just accosted. What they did in that church was horrible yesterday.
Okay, so he did name drop him. Again, we don't know if there's a reason behind that. I don't want to start something that's not there, but I will say for the last 3 days, every single person in the Trump administration all of a sudden showed up to Minnesota. Yeah, there's Kristi Noem. We don't have a photo of the other person who was arrested. Yeah, that's the other problem. Somebody said videoing their own felonies. That's from Just a Man 5490. That's why I was shocked that it was her and somebody else who was arrested, considering there were some other prominent people in that room that a lot of other commenters were saying, why are they not being arrested? We already saw that interview. Again, we are waiting for possibly more updates here. Again, we already know about the second arrest. This is from Mr. Kash Patel, a second arrest made. Chantel is now in custody, also on alleged violation of the FACE Act. Oof. Yeah. Yeah, I have no idea where they arrested her, but Let's see if the mayor of St. Paul said anything. We'll start, or mayor of Minneapolis. I apologize. Yep. Would you look at that? The mayor of Minneapolis had something to say. Of course, he's going to respond. Mayor Jacob Fry says, "This is a gross abuse of power. The federal government is picking and choosing who to investigate, going after protesters, and not the person who took out one of our neighbors. I am calling for Nakima to be released immediately." Wow. See if the governor had anything to say. And to be honest with you, typically the mayor of St. Paul does not respond to a lot of stuff. She doesn't really make a lot of comments. Governor Tim Walz has not said anything as of right now. Great to see all of you guys. Thank you for being here. Make sure you guys please subscribe. Make sure to turn on your notifications. Just so you are aware for the new people, I actually typically do a legitimate scheduled show, but this is preemptive considering how insane this information is. So it is great to meet all of you guys. And again, we might see a third arrest here on this live stream. We already saw 2 live. We saw that already. Trying to see if we have any other relevant info here. Here's JD Vance. He's going to Minnesota. Again, that's going to be really awkward. White House says we will not tolerate attacks on places of worship. The only other really prominent interview I can remember was when Nakima went on television and kept saying, hold on one sec. Let me see. I have an update here. I don't want to hype you guys up. 1 second. Okay, never mind. Somebody wrote something about Don Lemon. It looked like Don Lemon got arrested. So if Don Lemon is live right now, again, I don't know if he's going to get arrested. I don't know if he did anything wrong. Don't want to be accusatory, but the Trump administration has name dropped him a couple of times. Thank you for the $5 from Tiny. What is the deal with the big guy with the beard that was screaming into church? Members' faces. I saw he has raised $40,000. They called him the farmer. I have no idea. Again, what I will say is this. There are people who were in that church that have been identified before in other protests. I am well aware of that. Well aware of that. But it looks like the Trump administration is taking a different angle than what most people probably expected. I think a lot of people identified some of these protesters and were like, we've seen them before. That's going to be an easy arrest. I don't think anyone thought they were going to go straight to the top down.
What do you think of this? I mean, this is unacceptable. It's shameful. It's shameful to interrupt a public gathering of Christians in worship.
But there were folks who will say,
I have to take care of my flock.
Okay, but listen, we live there's a constitution in the First Amendment to freedom of speech and freedom to assemble and protest.
Yeah. We're here to worship. We're here to worship Jesus because that's the hope of these cities. That's the hope of the world is Jesus Christ.
I want to be very respectful. Please don't push me, though.
We're here to worship Jesus. Yes. That's why we're here. Yes. Okay, that's why we're here. Okay. That's what we're about.
Don't you think Jesus would be understanding
we're about
and love these folks?
We're about spreading the love of Jesus.
But did you try to talk to them as a Christian?
No one is willing to talk.
Okay.
Yeah. So again, the defense from a lot of the protesters is they let us in there. We were allowed in there, and then we started to protest, which I don't think that would even work. I don't know how that works, but again, for those of you joining, this is under, it looks like conspiracy charges. I'm looking for any other relevant information right now. My phone keeps going off. We already saw that interview. She's only done a couple of interviews as far as the justification for why she did what she did.
North Side Time. I moved back to the hood for the justice. North Side Time.
Okay, I'm not going to watch. That's not a serious interview. Sorry about that. That was crazy. Sometimes you click on things, you just don't know what you're going to get into. Someone in the comments, I apologize. Someone said bars. Sorry. We're trying to be serious here. I really want to know what's going on. This is a serious situation. This is a very serious show. I just wasn't expecting to click on something and they were going to start rapping. Let's see. Nothing. Okay. That was just crazy. Okay, nothing here again. All right. Maybe they are waiting for the media to roll through, or maybe they're waiting for JD Vance to show up. Let's continue here. So we're just going to continue a little bit with the show I actually had in place. I don't know if you guys heard this. So this was the other reason why I think Pam Bondi was actually in Minnesota.
But according to this memo, federal agents are now authorized and have been authorized to use administrative warrants to enter homes and arrest someone, and this is the important part, who has a final order of removal. Now, for years, immigration advocates and legal groups have urged people not to open their door unless they are shown a warrant signed by a judge, which is the judicial warrant. The difference between a judicial warrant and an administrative warrant is the judge's signature.
Yeah, are you guys aware that this is like the big news right now? That it turns out Homeland Security, if there was already a judicial warrant or a court order for you to leave the country, not judicial warrant, but a court order for you to leave the country, the due process was already put in place. And so right now the argument is, or the narrative is, ICE right now is storming inside of residents, but ICE is arguing we are, however, we're only doing it off the premise of there was already an active order to leave the country. So that's currently the clash that's happening right now on the ground. But I presume the other clash we're probably going to be seeing is some protesting against these protesters being arrested. This is from Skull Leader for the $5 donation. Thank you for the $5. Don Lemon, acts of civil disobedience. The expected results is to be arrested for violations of law. He might be. I have no idea. I am not on his live stream to know what is happening on his end or how he feels. I don't think he's posted anything. I'm trying to find some good clips for you guys. Sorry, this was not the plan, because right now, I mean, the media is going absolutely insane right now. That's Harmeet Dillon dunking on the haters. Did we already see this? Yeah, we saw this already. I'm trying to see if there's other leaders who are commenting on this, like any lawmakers. Arrest and charge Jonathan Ross. No, right now the debate is whether or not to abolish ICE. That's like the big thing right now. And speaking of, I think we actually have a clip of that. One second. This was not the original plan. Yeah, we have let's play this real quick. This is Congresswoman Dalia C. Ramirez. And again, for those of you joining, when I get more updates as far as who's being arrested next, what's going on, I will be pulling that up for you guys. Don't worry, I'm monitoring.
As a Chicagoan, I know the terror that DHS can inflict with unlimited resources and unchecked power. You just saw some of that with what Congressman Magaziner just showed. Our constituents are being surveilled, they're being threatened, they're being tear gassed, and subjected to warrantless arrest. Rammed with vehicles, they're being kidnapped, and you've seen it, they're also being disappeared. Yet there are those in Congress who would still expand DHS's budget and ICE capacity to enact Trump's mass deportation agenda. And so I often get asked back in my district.
And by the way, she is on the House oversight of Homeland.
How is this possible? How is it that they can behave this way? How can they tear gas a 6-month-old baby? Isn't Congress supposed to be a check on DHS? Well, first, I say to them that would require my Republican colleagues to agree that bringing senior ICE officials to testify before this committee is critical. And I do hear, Chairman, that that may happen in 6 weeks or so. I think it's far too late. They should be here right now. Secondly, that would also suggest that DHS is behaving in ways outside its design. Now, let me be clear. DHS and ICE, it's not rogue. Let me tell you why. Because from its establishment, Congress empowered DHS to violate our rights under the pretense of securing our safety.
Okay, what do you guys think about that? Again, on the House Oversight Committee, do want to point that out. Kathleen says it's called a sanctuary for a reason. Thank you for the $2 donation. Yes, it is.
Who feels safe right now under DHS? DHS was intentionally established with an overbroad mission and unchecked power, which has been expanded by Republicans with a blank check, unlimited personnel, and no guardrails whatsoever. And Trump, with his authoritarian tendencies, is only making visible what so many communities have already known to be true. DHS is a threat to our collective safety, and funding it only fuels our destruction and our human suffering. It's why 32 people have died in detention in ICE's deadliest year yet. U.S. citizens are being shot and killed, and the agency doesn't even know who they're hiring and doesn't seem to even care who they're hiring.
Okay, so just trying to show you guys, again, I've been saying this over and over again. There is a push to possibly want to abolish, reform ICE. Let's go here. Give me 1 second. Any updates? No updates so far. Yeah, Harmeet Dillon reposting that CNN interview. Again, they've been name-dropping a lot of people. Let me know how you feel about that, preemptively name-dropping. But again, a lot of pressure. I think the Trump administration put a lot of pressure on themselves. I was a little shocked how hard they were going in on the name-dropping and sending more and more people to Minnesota. Pam Bondi had no choice but for something to happen. Otherwise, I don't know what would happen after this, as far as having any more trust for her. Thank you, Casey Cat1, for the $5 donation. Mr. Don Lemon is covering the congressional hearings and hasn't mentioned the arrest. While I was there, please arrest him on live stream. That's what Cat says. Yeah, I don't know if he will be talking about it. Don Lemon's getting the bad news right now, says Phantom. Again, we don't know. We don't know if Don Lemon will be arrested. We have no idea, but I do know they keep name-dropping him.
As we've done and will continue to do. Thank you. But whoever's next. The lights are very bright, so I can't see, but whoever's got the microphone, just shout out a question.
Mr. Vice President, Henry Gomez, NBC News. President Trump this week said that ICE has made some mistakes. I'm curious what steps the administration is taking to rectify those, and do you think your presence in Minneapolis today will calm the tensions there?
Well, certainly one of my goals is to calm the tensions, to talk to people, to try to understand what we can do better. You know, when the president says that that mistakes have been made, you know, my thought on that is that, well, of course there have been mistakes made, because you're always going to have mistakes made in law enforcement. I mean, we all know this. Probably every single person in this room knows a police officer. 99% of our police officers, probably more than that, are doing everything right. Some people are going to make mistakes. That's the nature of law enforcement. But the number one way where we could lower the mistakes that are happening, at least with our immigration enforcement, is to have local jurisdictions that are cooperating with us.
And I mean, this is the big push right now. I think now, when I first started covering sanctuary cities, first off, I was shocked what the actual policies were. I don't think the majority of Americans fully know it really is like this, where you have criminals in a prison system and Homeland Security cannot inquire or investigate as to whether or not they are an illegal immigrant. And I think right now, the majority of America is really starting to get educated on the fact of what it's really like. And in my opinion, I think the momentum is way in the favor of the Trump administration, in my opinion. Just trying to be fair here.
Some very basic things that would make Minneapolis look Memphis, Tennessee, a blue city where you do not have this chaos in immigration enforcement because the local police and the local authorities are cooperating with us. So when you look at Memphis, Tennessee, or Austin, Texas, or any other community virtually across the United States of America, and you don't see the same level of chaos in Minneapolis, the natural conclusion is that it's not what ICE is doing in Minneapolis, it's what Minneapolis authorities are doing to prevent ICE from doing their jobs. And that's exactly what's happening.
And again, for context, he is currently in the air right now, in an airplane, flying to Minneapolis, to figure out what is going on the ground. So you have all of the top people right now. I think Stephen Miller might be the only person, and Tom Homan might be the only two who are not in Minnesota right now, or really honing in and focusing on the situation. And again, guys, don't worry. I am scanning. I am looking up all this information to see if we have more people who are being arrested.
Let me give you just a couple of very real-world examples of some of the problems that we face. So let's say you have a sex offender. We've arrested a number of sex offender illegal aliens in Minneapolis just in the last couple of months. But that person, because they're an illegal alien, we don't know where they live. Yep. We don't know their address. If local authorities were cooperating with us, it would be easier to send an ICE agents to the person's house to arrest them, to have local law enforcement protecting our immigration officers. They throw the sex offender in the back of a car, deport that person, throw them in jail, whatever, and then they go home safely to their families. That's not what...
Now, I know this is not a statistical data point that can be verified through you guys because it's my own personal experience, but in my own personal experience, I want to quantify that. Whenever I talk to my friends who might not be fans of the Trump administration, or they are not the biggest fans of how ICE is operating, whenever I bring up this point, almost 9 times out of 10, they don't fully understand that this is happening. I don't know about you guys. I don't know if you have friends who are also, they don't find the Trump administration favorable or don't like ICE. I don't know if you've ever had that conversation, but if you ever have a conversation with somebody and you bring this up, that seems to be quite the turning point into how they might think about this situation, because most Americans actually do care about security. It's where we get into that gray area of, well, I'm not in the biggest favor of ICE, but I don't like crime either. And I think it really does open up that door of opportunity to sort of look into whether or not people like this.
What's happening? What's happening instead is that the Minneapolis authorities are refusing to tell us where that sex offender lives. Why are they protecting sex offenders? That's anybody's guess, but it's crazy. Meanwhile, the local police are being told by the mayor, don't help them. So if there are protests, and there are people trying to not just protest, but interfere with what ICE is doing, we don't have the support of local law enforcement to keep the peace. So when I talk about lowering the temperature, those are the two things that we want those local authorities to do. Help us find sex offenders and get them out.
Okay, so yeah, J.D. Vance. Again, that's obviously what he's going to be doing here in Minnesota. He's going to be talking about possibly cooperating more, but again, for those of you that are unaware, the mayor of Minneapolis, just to show you guys real quick, is not too happy about the people who were arrested so far. This is a gross abuse of power, is what he says. I am calling for Nakima to be released immediately. He did not talk about the other person, though. The St. Paul School Board member. And thank you guys again for being here. I really appreciate all of you. This was a preemptive stream. I did have a show scheduled, but that, of course, is going to get interrupted for stuff like this. And turn on your notifications so you guys don't miss a thing. Whenever we have like really big breaking news, I stop everything I'm doing to make sure you guys get all of the information accurately and very quick. Still waiting to see if we have any more relevant updates. Nothing here. I'm trying to see if there's anybody who's like standing up for them. Any lawmakers? If you guys are unaware, that's the photo of her being arrested. I don't know if Don Lemon has an X account, by the way, so I wouldn't even be able to know what he has to say in real time. Nothing. But without a doubt, I do think more people are going to be arrested for sure. Yep. Again, they're not hiding that they were there. There's no wrong in saying they were there. They're not denying it. The divide here is whether or not they broke the law and purposely went in there to cause disturbing the peace or disturbing, the service. And the Trump administration almost immediately was like, yeah, this is a huge red flag. We're going to look into it. We already saw this interview. Mayor Frey saying he's not going to be working with ICE. Preemptive stream. Man. Yeah, I saw what's happening in Portland, Oregon. There's a lot of action going on in Portland, Oregon. I will be covering Portland, Oregon at some point. There's a lot going on in Portland, Maine as well. So there's going to be a little bit of confusion here in the algorithm. They're not going to know who to talk about. Portland, Maine right now is really turning up. And I will be dedicating a lot of my resources and time to be looking into Maine. Have you guys heard about the action out there?
Confirmed reports that ICE is in Portland and Lewiston and possibly in other parts of Maine. We've heard reports of them stopping and detaining people outside of schools. This is exactly what we'd worried about, what we've been preparing for, and thank you to everyone who is observing, who is doing all they can to help their neighbors in this incredibly scary time and this challenging time. Honestly, it makes me sick.
And just so you guys know, the clips are pretty insane already. So I have already dedicated a lot of time and resources to researching and finding you guys the best information on this. And shout out to Valley Ray. Valley Ray's in the house, a Portland OG. And thank you for helping the poor and the needy out there. I respect that you go out and you dedicate your own resources to helping them out. Thank you, Valley Ray.
To my stomach to think about our federal government harassing people, making children afraid, and really just working to cause chaos across our communities. It's a really important time that people continue to remember and know their rights. ICE cannot enter your home without a judicial warrant. If you want more information, go to the Maine Immigrant.
Well, she's saying that, but we are now seeing on the flip side, which is actually maybe a good segue to get a little bit into my show. On the flip side, I don't know where on the flip side, that seems to not be the case. I mean, it turns out that you don't need a judicial warrant per se. You just need the judge to have already given the order that you were told to leave the country. And I have that clip here somewhere, but everything is all messed up. Here's Pam Bondi last night. She did a Fox News interview.
Right now, involving people putting ICE agents' license plates and other information out there in the public. It's here in Minnesota, it's in other cities. Can those people expect to face federal charges?
They better look out, because you cannot dox, you cannot, law enforcement's information is private, and you wonder, why are our ICE officers wearing masks? To protect themselves from these people. We are going to do everything legally we can do to keep our men and women in law enforcement safe and the citizens of this state safe, so they can go to church, they can go to school, they can go to work, and they can feel safe.
And just to give you some context or the timeline, this interview was done last night. And again, putting more pressure on Pam Bondi herself appearing on national television. I think a lot of people were like, okay, we see you, we know you don't like bad people. Why don't you arrest them? Why don't you do anything? Just to give you guys how people were feeling about this. And thank you for the $5 donations. So this was last night. I will read those donations in a second. And yeah, we just expect that there's going to be a lot more people arrested, not only with the church protesters, but also with the possible of leaking information, the possibility of coordinating these protesters getting in the way. You're allowed to protest 100% lawfully, but when you cross that line, it can become an issue. And the Trump administration, since day one, said that is like the one thing they want to focus on as far as a crackdown arresting agitators or leaders in these groups. Let me get to your donations. Thank you guys so much. This is from James. I don't care how Democrats feel. The left, when they start trying to take out Republicans, Democrats only care about money and power. Thank you for the $5. We have another one from Logan. This is all just a distraction from the fact that billions of taxpayer dollars were stolen and given to a foreign people and country. That's the real news. Thank you for the $5. I don't have the photo, but Pam Bondi was also there last night talking about the other court ruling that they won, or an appeal. Again, we are running on 0 drips of water or Red Bull right now, so if I'm stuttering or sound different, that's probably why. But I am dedicated to the cause. If there's one thing the Army taught me, it's to persevere. No, guess not. Nothing from Pam Bondi. Oh yeah, right here. Proud to stand with our outstanding attorneys in Minnesota, including Albee and Bryan, who just won a major RICO case. They are keeping Minnesotans safe. A lot of legal representation on the ground. This was all yesterday. There was a lot of clashing going on yesterday, but maybe I'll do a dedicated video on that another time. If you guys are unaware, Chief Bovino actually had to use tear gas. The only reason why I'm pointing this out, this is not the first time he's had to use tear gas, but it is a little ironic on the day of the appeal in which he can use tear gas without that court order ruling over his head. He used tear gas. So I just wanted to point that out as far as timelines. And somebody else also pointed this out. I don't want to take the credit for it. He actually gave like 3 warnings before throwing tear gas.
I'm in the gas. Get back. Gas is coming. Gas is coming. Second warning. We're filling you. Gas on film.
Actually, 4 times.
Third warning. Gas
Third one. All right, so that happened yesterday. Again, I'm only tying that together as far as that court case that occurred where the ruling is in favor of the Trump administration as far as you cannot, what they say, you cannot gas peaceful protesters, but that's already the law, so. We already saw this. You know, while we're here, I want to watch this clip. I didn't get to watch it. We can just watch it together. Hold on, give me 1 second. Did you guys see this? Tennessee State Representative comes on Fox News to share his rhetoric.
Can you name a single victim of crime in your state by illegal immigrants? Yes or no?
I can name the people who are being criminalized by this administration and mass agents who are kidnapping people in our community.
Can you name your state representative?
You want to go through a list? Go through the list.
You can't name one victim of crime.
Mar-a-Lago. Go through that list.
By the illegal immigrants in your state, can you? You never picked up a phone and got off your ass to talk to one constituent ever, to talk to them and give them condolences because you are making them less safe and secure.
And this is true. His last interview on Fox News, it was the same talking point, not saying it's a bad thing, where he's like, when was the last time you called a victim of a crime?
CEOs taking their health care, letting their farms close. You don't care about the American people. You're distracting from the real issues.
I care about the American people.
You want them to be afraid of immigrants because all you have is fear, Sean. You want people to be fearful. Their pain is real, but it's not immigrants. It's the corporate CEOs who are screwing them over and making it so that they cannot afford groceries in their health care. That's who we...
Yeah, Sean Hannity has been having, like, people on there. It's been getting really confrontational lately. And, you know, I appreciate that in the sense of we should be having people on shows or way differing talking points and coming together and see if we can have some sort of peace. But it doesn't look like that was happening here.
We need to go after. This is not the America. The America I believe in does not look like this. The America I believe in does not look like masked men targeting people. Shameful.
Okay.
Shameful.
Let me tell you what you're doing. When you compare our ICE agents that are taking all those criminal, illegal immigrants off your street, although you can't name a single person because you're not in touch with your constituents and you're too lazy to find out who they are, you are putting their lives in jeopardy. You are putting your reckless rhetoric is putting their lives in jeopardy.
And just so you guys know, in Tennessee right now, they are really ramping it up as far as deportation operations or wanting to have more cooperation between the police. Tennessee is also an anti-sanctuary state. So you cannot have sanctuary policies in cities, counties, towns, or the state. And so because of that, there's a lot of pushback from Democrats as far as trying to find a way to have more of a sanctuary policy as far as more division. Now, mayors are allowed to not work with ICE, but you cannot create policies as strict like we're seeing over in other sanctuary states. It gets a little complicated, but I've done plenty of videos on that. Let's see, any other updates? Nothing. Yeah, again, for those of you joining, we have 2 arrests so far. I don't know if there's going to be a 3rd or 4th. While we were live, we had 2 arrests within minutes. One of them, endorsed member of the St. Paul School Board, has been arrested. Looking for some updates for you guys. Again, thank you guys for being here.
And a Mexican criminal illegal alien, Pedro Laguna Cruz, who has multiple DUI convictions and a conviction of possession of controlled substance. These are the people who the church agitators we're protesting for. These are the people, the violent agitators ramming our vehicles and attacking our officers are trying to defend. It's easy to debate immigration enforcement when it's abstract, but behind every one of these arrests is someone who committed a crime that put your friends, family, neighbors, community in danger.
Okay. And that press conference just happened like minutes ago. All right, let's see. I'm really curious if we're going to have one other person arrested as we go live. This is not a real video. That's the real picture, though. Somebody said low energy. That's being used a lot here recently, the low energy. Here's update here. Hold on.
There is a number, and it's called all of them. Yep, you bet. All of them. We're not going to allow criminal illegal aliens to walk the streets and have more Molly Tibbetts, Jacqueline Nungare's, and all the other ones. I mean, you're worried about numbers. I'm worried about the deaths of Americans. Let's talk about that a little bit. Maybe Jacqueline Nungare, what her last moments were like. How come we never talk about that? And you're worried about numbers. Wait, no, hold on. Numbers? Jacqueline Nungare. Numbers, but your numbers, Jacqueline Nungare, well, actually, we never hear about her or the other thousands of American citizens. I'm worried about that vastly more than a number or a date. We're going to make Mom and Pa America safe. President Trump is, Secretary Noem is, and we're going to get them all.
Okay. Let me know what you guys think about that. Again, I'm not trying to make this so one-sided. I am looking for responses from, like, left-leaning sources, and I'm not really finding any. I'm just trying to be honest with you guys here. This is from Necro. Thank you for the $10 donation. The First Amendment doesn't tell you what you can do. It tells the government what it can't do. That goes for the entire Bill of Rights. Thank you for the $10. Supposedly, there's a manhunt for somebody. Again, I cannot verify that, but I did see that there might be a manhunt for one of the people who were in that church. I have no idea if that's true, but it could be. You never know. In today's day and age, I mean, anything can happen at this point, right? Now, what I do expect is that I do think we're going to start to see some protesters get arrested, in my opinion, or group organizers for protesters who cross the line. Not the lawful people. And the only reason why I say that is because there's so many federal resources right now. If there was ever a time the Trump administration could make a statement, it would be now. Apparently, this is Don Lemon's live reaction. Again, don't know if this is fully true. It could just be him looking down at his phone, but Don Lemon is live right now on his YouTube channel, and he's totally distracted at his phone. Is he still live? I have no idea. Does Don go live a lot? I go live a lot nowadays. I go live every morning, and then whenever there's breaking news, we go live, so.
ICE is the complete opposite of Christianity. You cannot be an ICE agent and be a pastor. My name is William Kelly. I'm a combat infantry veteran. I'm a patriot. I'm a defender of human dignity. But we went in there and we preached the words of Jesus at them. Jesus said to love thy neighbor. Jesus said to welcome aliens from faraway places. But we're terrorists? They're calling me a professional agitator now? Well, yes, I am. I am an agitator because people need to be agitated. What they're doing to this nation is unconstitutional. It is inhumane. It is treason. It is disgusting. That is a white supremacist.
Okay, you guys can leave your comments down below. Let me know how you feel about that. Blue Line Vibes, thank you for being here. I see you. Thank you so much for being here. And thank you guys also for being here and trusting me to give you guys this information. I appreciate it. Even with the lack of hydration. Right before I was going to start this live stream, I'm like, you know what? Maybe I should get a drip of water. And I was like, no, I have to start now. So here we are. Okay, Center for Baptist Leadership. Here we go. And look, hey, they were straight up. They're like, we're pressing charges, guys. This whole, they came into our church and the peaceful thing, that's not how we saw it. We encourage our listeners to be patient as the Trump administration worked to secure charges and warrants for perpetrators of the city's church attack. William Chamberlain and J.R. Whitehead said they were coming, and now they are here. From the church. Yeah, I mean, everybody kept saying it was coming, so I know we hear that a lot, but when you start to put 2 and 2 together, or 10 and 10 together, considering there's 3,000 federal agents on the ground, Harmeet Dillon was name-dropping people, Pam Bondi flew to Minnesota, Tom Homan said, wait and see what's coming, Kristi Noem said, we will have arrest in hours. I mean, guys, I think all of us saw this coming, but unfortunately, a lot of trust has been lost. Yeah, we're not really seeing too much of a response as far as like the support for the people who've been arrested. I am looking for it. I'm looking for it, guys. Yeah, I know. The general consensus I was seeing in my chat was, surprise, is this happening? Now, there are a lot of arrests and there are a lot of investigations going down. They're obviously just not as public. But in this situation, for as public as it was, I think there was an expectation from conservative voters, Republicans, hey, if they're going to be that public about it, the protesters, you have to be as public about it as well. And it looks like the Trump administration was paying attention because, man, they made this very, very public. Let's dig into this. And then, again, I am scanning for updates. Don't you guys worry.
Very closely what is happening here in Minneapolis from your vantage point. And we just got this new information overnight. The Associated Press was the first to report that ICE is changing its policy. And it is now allowing its agents to forcibly enter homes without a warrant. And I just want to be clear, based solely on a more narrow administrative warrant to arrest someone on a final order of removal. Do you think this sharp turn from ICE's policy and from normal policing tactics is a violation of the Constitution's Fourth Amendment?
It is a blatant, craven violation of the Fourth Amendment.
And again, just to make this as easy for you guys to understand, because this is going to be a very big deal. I don't know if this is how they're changing operations in Minnesota only, or if this is going to be a nationwide procedure change. But again, to make this as easy for you to understand is that if there was already an order for you to be deported from this country or self-deport from a judge, that meets the criteria for due process. That is the argument from Homeland Security. So now there is probable cause, or that will be enough probable cause to enter a home. As you guys are aware, one of the hardest things for Homeland Security is they know there's somebody in that house who's probably not supposed to be there. They might or are an illegal immigrant, but they don't have that warrant to enter, that judicial warrant. Well, that has changed. So I hope that was easy for you guys to understand.
A bedrock protection for people in the privacy of their homes. Americans should be terrified that this secret ICE policy authorizes agents to break down doors and ransack through their homes, arresting or detaining people without a judicial warrant. There's a critical difference between that administrative warrant, which is signed by an ICE officer or a deportation official, and a judicial warrant where a judge and a court have to find that there is a cause, probable cause, to enter someone's home. And this shocking policy is linked directly to top officials of ICE. In fact, the acting director of ICE authored this secret memo, and it is being circulated throughout ICE. It is trained to new agents potentially on the job out there in Minnesota. It exemplifies what Americans are seeing in real time.
Okay. And somebody asked me, why would you use left-leaning sources? Well, if you're new here, the reason why we use left-leaning sources is because I fully believe if you get here's what has been happening to me, and this is why I started this journey. We get so sucked into one side of our algorithm, and we get told this is what's happening, everything's good to go, and then a judge makes an order because this was wrong. And so what I try to do for you guys is I show you guys the totally opposite perspective. We bring it back to the other perspective. We bring it all together, and now you know what's going on. Unfortunately, that's just the way the internet is right now, is that we just get so sucked into our algorithms and we're given like false hope and not the accurate news. I'm just trying to help you guys out. So I appreciate the questions and the comments. Thank you guys again for being here. Any more updates? Not really. All right. Well, I don't want to waste any more of you guys' time. We could drag this out for like another 10 hours, but I don't want to do that to you. So that is pretty much all of the updates. Again, when there's more breaking news, I will go live, but this is the news. Those two people have been arrested. And again, if you want more information and you want to keep on top of it, you can also just go to Pam Bondi's page. She's pretty active. And that is pretty much all I have for you guys. Again, I did have an actual show, but this obviously is going to be a little more crucial here, more important. And I guarantee in like 10 minutes, as soon as we get off of here, someone else is going to be arrested. Maybe. We'll see. They are indicating more arrests are coming. So I do expect today there will probably be more arrests, but this is as high profile as you can get as far as the arrests go, in my opinion. But okay. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. And yeah, we'll see what happens. We'll see who's next. I don't know if anything will happen to Don Lemon. I have no idea. I do know the Trump administration was name dropping him a lot. Possible indicators that something could happen. There's other names who people are well aware of who were inside that church. They might be arrested. But yeah, we will see. So, thank you guys again for everything. Make sure to please subscribe, turn on your notifications. I don't want you to miss a thing, and I will immediately go live the second we get more information. All right. Love you guys, and I hope I was as fair as possible. It's hard to be fair here, or as fair as possible here, because there weren't too many sources, left-leaning sources, who were really talking about this. The only person was the mayor of Minneapolis, who's not happy with it. I don't have anything from Governor Tim Walz, and we don't really have any other updates from like a CNN, MSNBC, nothing like that. So I apologize. This was a little more one-sided than I wanted it to be, but I did my best, and I appreciate all of you guys. So please pray for peace. Thank you guys. God bless, and we will see you all later. Thank you guys for everything.